Hey, what's up everyone? James here again. So I thought I would do something different this time around. Instead of doing an unboxing video, I thought it would be more fun to showcase some of the gameplay for the games that I got this month from Video Games Monthly. I got a pretty interesting variety of games, most of which I've never played before. Since I've only played a little of each game, I'm not going to go into much detail, just kind of a general overview of my first impression. However, I may cover these games more in depth in future videos, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. First up, we have Jurassic Park. I loved this movie as a kid, and it's still one of my favorite movies of all time. I did play the Sega Genesis version a lot as a kid, which is a completely different game, and going back and playing it now, I realized there's a lot of flaws with it. But what about the Super Nintendo version? Well, I don't know how I feel about this one yet. I wasn't entirely sure what I was supposed to be doing at first, but the more I played, I started to realize I still had no idea what I was supposed to be doing. I wasn't able to find any sort of mission to accomplish, so I just walked around aimlessly trying to figure things out. Along the way, I ran into various dinosaurs which I can either stun or pretty much obliterate. Eventually, I did find a building I could go into where the game turns into a first-person 3D-like maze. Granted, this is pretty impressive for the Super Nintendo, but it's really hard to figure out what's going on. Comparing the two, the Genesis version will always evoke nostalgia. However, this version seems to be a much more stable and better programmed game. If I knew exactly what I was supposed to be doing, I think I would like this game a little bit more, but I think I just need to spend some more time with it. Captain Skyhawk was a game I wasn't at all familiar with. It's a shoot 'em up that pretty much has you flying around shooting enemies. You know, what you normally do in shoot 'em ups. Graphically, the game is pretty minimalistic, but looks pretty good in my opinion considering the limitations of the NES. The game does control pretty well, however it is hard to evaluate your elevation, which may cause you to run into elevated surfaces, so I tried my hardest just to stay as high as I could. My only other complaint is the enemy bullets. They're not very noticeable, which makes them hard to avoid at times if you're not paying close enough attention. If they were red or some other bright color, they'd be much easier to distinguish from what else is going on screen. While capturing this footage, I was able to make it to the second stage where it changes to more of a third-person view. Again, it seems to run pretty smooth, but I kind of prefer the overhead view a little more. Next up we have Pinball. If you haven't figured it out yet, it's a virtual pinball game. The cover art is a bit misleading though, since it looks more like Breakout. Apparently there is a hidden Breakout type minigame where you play as Mario, however I haven't come across that yet. Anyway, what's there to say? It's pinball. It controls perfectly fine, although I feel like the ball is a bit floaty, but nothing game-breaking. I haven't really played any other pinball games on the NES, so I don't really have anything to compare it to. But what's here seems to work. This is one I probably won't play often. I'm not a huge virtual pinball fan. However, my wife does enjoy pinball, and since we don't have room for a real one, this game will suffice for the time being. Fester's Quest is a game I've heard quite a bit about. This game seems to be highly criticized more so for its difficulty than anything else. From what little I played, it doesn't seem overly difficult, but I've barely scratched the surface of this game. Your primary weapon is this gun type thing, which is fine, but who thought this would be a good idea? You would think a power-up would make your gun better, but this thing makes it really hard to determine your shot. Anyway, eventually I made it here where it's dark and I can barely see anything, so I thought I'd be able to use this light bulb like Uncle Fester is known to do, but I couldn't get it to work. With all that being said, I can't say I hate this game. I have found myself coming back hoping to make it just a bit further. It's not like some games where the difficulty lies from simply broken controls, so I do look forward to hopefully making some more progress with this one. Next up we have Bonanza Brothers. I don't know why, but I really enjoy this game. You simply go through each stage and collect, or steal I should say, specific objects and eventually make your way to the roof in order to escape. Along the way though, you need to avoid guards by either sneaking past them, slamming them with doors, or stunning them with your gun. That's pretty much all there is to it, but sometimes simple is better. It's not a difficult game, however you can increase the difficulty if you're looking for more of a challenge. That's pretty much all there is to say about this one, so let's move on. Here we have Caesar's Palace. There's not really a whole lot to say about this one either. You walk around and play various games such as blackjack, slots, and roulette. That's really all there is to it. Oh, and you can visit the bathroom if needed. Echo the Tides of Time is a sequel to the bestseller Echo the Dolphin. To be honest, I was never a huge fan of Echo. I never truly understood what I was supposed to be doing, and would end up running around aimlessly looking for some sort of direction. However, a lot of people really enjoy these games, and I can definitely see why. Graphically, the game is beautiful, and the music is outstanding. I would play these games simply to listen to the music. Echo may not be for everyone, however, it's worth checking out if you never have, and it's definitely a worthy title for your Genesis collection. Art of Fighting is another game I'm not quite sure how I feel about it yet. I feel it tries to be like Street Fighter, but just falls a bit short. But then again, that's really not a fair comparison. The story, like so many fighting games, involves someone getting kidnapped and you must fight your way through to save them. For the story mode, you can only pick between 2 characters. However, you can play with a friend and pick from any of the available characters. Even though I like the idea of the story mode and how it ties each match together, the game is much more fun on 2-player in my opinion. I did find it hilarious how this one character falls once defeated. Overall, it's not terrible, and it's definitely worth checking out if you enjoy fighting games. Next up we have Prisoners of War. I actually really enjoyed this game. I love beat 'em ups, and this one is no exception. It controls really well, and it's not overly difficult like some beat 'em ups on the NES. But like a good game should, it gradually gets more difficult as you progress. I'm not 100% on the story, but I assume you're a prisoner of war trying to fight your way out to escape. You punch and kick your way through enemy after enemy. Along the way, you'll come across weapons like a knife and a gun. You can also do this silly little jump kick that I find hilarious. There's not a whole lot else to say about this one other than if you like beat 'em ups, check this one out. Here we have Extreme G XG2, which is a futuristic racing game where you ride these crazy bike-like vehicles at ridiculous speeds. Sure, it's not perfect, but I had a lot of fun playing this one, and that's what matters the most to me. It's very fast-paced, but controls pretty well in my opinion. Some turns can be difficult, but for the most part I didn't have many issues turning like I do with so many other racing games. You also have the option to include weapons to shoot at your opponents, which is pretty cool. I had never heard of this game before, but from what I've played so far, I would recommend checking this one out. And last up we have Clay Fighters Tournament Edition. This to me is a game that is so bad that it's good. I love games that don't take themselves seriously, which I feel we kind of lack nowadays. Back then, fighting games were trying so hard to be like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. Clay Fighters doesn't try to be either one really. Everything about this game is just weird, which is what makes it great in my opinion. The characters in this game are beyond wacky and were actually animated using stop motion photography, which definitely makes it unique. I haven't played too much of the tournament mode, but it's definitely a fun game to play with 2 players. If you're looking for a serious fighting game, this may not be for you, but if you're looking for something strange and downright unusual, I highly recommend this one.
That was awesome.
Well, that was it for this month, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and like and comment below. And if you want to keep up with future videos, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And hopefully I'll see you guys again soon.